we'll start we're starting officially now. Yoga for posture improvement, for improved posture. So we want to really keep our nervous system in the parasympathetic mode, which is the relaxation mode. And this will be a workshop, lots of movement, but we'll also drop into some breathing and some relaxation in the beginning and the end. And anything we do today, there might be some things that are challenging, and I want you to just make sure you make choices, make wise choices, so that you stay feeling safe. I mean, that's a big thing right now. We all want to feel safe. We all want to feel comfortable. We want to feel a sense of belonging. So we're here together, belonging. And the next thing we want to do is make sure that whatever choices come up for you, you make choices that feel good in your body. And so it's kind of interesting to teach this way because I really tend to feed off a lot of what's happening in the room when I'm live. But it's kind of good to at least do a little box with you, but I won't know what you're feeling and how that's going. You can ask questions. I want to keep, that's why I'm doing it on this structure rather than a webinar where there's no back and forth if something comes up. So let's just do that and we'll play together for about 75 minutes and time will go by quickly because you'll be enjoying yourself, hopefully. Is there any questions to begin with?
What's your email address?
No questions? Okay. We're missing a few peeps. And, oh, yes, that's a question. Yes, Anne.
Are we working?
Yeah, we're doing yoga.
Okay.
Yes.
I just didn't know if our thing was working. Okay.
Oh, you're working. Oh, yes, your video is working.
Okay, we're good now. Okay, we're good. No.
So what I'd like to do is start seated, and I actually recommend, I'm going to back up and go into a chair. Chairs are good. So you can sit on there, but we're going to start with feet work. We're going to actually breathe first. So if you want to sit on the floor, that's fine. And then I'll have you come up to a more seated position, or you can stay on the floor. I'll work through that. We'll wake up our feet. I'll kind of see where you're at. I can't see you, Timmy. Anne lost. I think Anne is not also. So I can't see what you're doing. You just have to listen and follow along. And then we'll do some standing work. So we'll be getting up off the floor and really work it. So I'm going to change my little view here. And come on up. I got my happy pants on today because it's so gray. So I thought I'd add some color to the day. And so I'm going to sit here. Wherever you're sitting, I want you to get comfortable. That's the most important thing. So it's a couch, a chair, the floor. At this point in time, whatever's comfortable, and you can change around later. But right now, we're going to do some breathing and some centering to relax that nervous system, right? And bring our attention into this space and time so that we're really feeling what's going on for ourselves so we can be truthful about the choices we make as we move through this. So hands either on your lap or in your lap, what's comfortable for you. If you're willing, close your eyes. Otherwise, you can just glance off the tip of your nose. You don't really need to see me at all right now. It's about you and your breath and your body. So just allow yourself to take a moment to feel, first of all, your feet on the floor, wherever your legs are. Just be aware of the positioning of your feet and legs. And then take a few breaths in and out. And allow your exhalation to bring you into even a more comfortable position. So be willing to make some little adjustments. And then draw your attention into your hips. Now we're going to work a lot on the pelvis today. So I just want you to notice what kind of sensations you have that are present in your hips and your lower back and your lower belly. And all we're thinking about right now is, are you comfortable? And you can do whatever you want to be comfortable. We'll work with structure in a bit. Right now, get comfortable. And then take a few breaths and let your belly relax for right now. As you breathe in, there should be a softening in your abdomen. And then as you breathe out, You'll feel that belly draw back a bit. You don't have to try and pull it back. Just let it do its thing. The body knows how to take care of itself. And then bring your awareness from the belly up into the rib cage, and just be aware of the whole circumference of your ribs. So the chest, of course, and then the sides of the ribs, and the back of the ribs around the spine. And just feel that whole area as it expands and contracts with your breath. Again, you're not trying to force anything, just allow. Notice how much your body moves naturally with your breath. And then let your next breath carry your awareness up into your neck and shoulders, and you might want to rearrange them a little bit or just release your neck slightly. Be as comfortable as you can. Be aware of sensation. Even down into the arms, maybe noticing how you place your hands and arms, and bring awareness of sensation into those areas. And then bring your awareness into your head and face. So think of the top of your head being lifted up, I like to say, by a golden thread. So your head is really lifted above your shoulders, and relax the muscles across the scalp. Smooth the forehead. Relax the muscles around your eyes. Release your jaw. And relax the tongue away from the upper palate. Just notice if you can just soften the face. Notice how that feels. And then let your attention move to the sound of your breath. So relax your ears and let them hear the gentle wave-like whoosh of your breath through your windpipe. And feel your whole body breathing. So imagine that your skin is slightly expanding. Your whole encasement is expanding as you inhale. And relaxing back as you exhale. And this is a natural massage for all your organs and glands. If you slow that breath down and try and even out the length of your in-breath with your out-breath, this is a very nurturing rhythm for your nervous system. And it slows down your brain waves. So I'm going to have you take about 5 more breaths and just be curious. Be curious about what you're feeling, what you're hearing, and what kind of feedback is going back and forth between your body and mind. 5 more breaths. As you take that last breath or two, notice your comfort level with just being silent. Sometimes that feels awkward, and that's okay. It's just a feeling. Sometimes it feels deeply rewarding. And that can be different all the time. So just notice how it is right now. Welcoming or a little challenging, and it doesn't matter how it is. It's just that we're doing that anyways, because it's still good for our body. So let your breath go all the way and blink your eyes open if they're closed. And just kind of wiggle out a little bit. And what I'd like you to do is get comfortable in a seat. If you could sit on something, and I'm going to peek up here on my little thumbnails. I was going to shoot you up on the wall so I could see more. And I will do that tomorrow. But if you can sit on something, even a table, I mean a short, like a dining, a coffee table, that's a good height, or a chair. I think it'll just be easier to work our feet this way. Okay, good. And We're going to start with the feet because the feet have everything to do with how we stand well. If the feet are tight or weak, then we need to work them. So the first thing I'm going to have you do is people get settled. Just start to bring, I'm going to do this at an angle, bring your heels off the floor like this. Just push up and notice what's happening when you're flexing your toes. So you're really actually stretching quite a bit into the ball of the foot, into that relationship in the toe joint. Sometimes there's tension in that first metatarsal on the inner edge of the ball of the foot. That's very common because of wearing our shoes and squishing our toes together over time. And all that pressure goes into that first metatarsal right there, and it starts to calcify itself. Well, we might collapse our feet in. We'll take a look at that. If we walk on the inner edges of our feet, we're still doing this. Don't stop, even though I'm talking. We're warming up the joints. Okay. So if we tend to put a lot of pressure on the inner edge of the feet, that too will cause those misalignments. So we're going to do what we can with what we've got. Now release that. Now I recommend leaning back a little, grabbing the front of your shin, and then lean back so there's not a lot of work in your spine. And you can just circle the ankle. You could also take it across the leg if you want. We're just going to really do a lot of circles with the ankle. So this way or this way, and you're leaning back, and then you're going to go the other direction. And as you're doing that, like my hands are right on my upper shin, and I can feel my calf muscles popping up as I go around the circle. So this really awakens, it's not just about the ankle, but it starts to awaken all the muscles in the lower leg, change direction. And yes, we're repeating this a lot because it's not just about loosening up, it's about strengthening. A lot of times our ankles are weak. I know, Jan, you've had weak ankles in your life. And so this is a great way. It's so simple, but you'll start to feel it getting really warm. You can always stop for a moment if the repetition that I'm offering is too much. But it should get really warm in there. That's what you want. Okay? And then if you can, bring the ankle across right at your other knee. And this is a fun one. You're going to take your hand, you're going to put your fingers between your toes. You have to help them out a little bit. You're gonna weave your fingers in between your toes. Push them in there, right? Now that's gonna spread your toes apart, and you're gonna hold the ball of your foot and just give it a good squeeze. And then you can, now you're moving the ankle passively because it's not the ankle that's moving itself, the arm is moving it. But in the meantime, you're squeezing your toes and the other direction. So we really wanna get space, as much space as you can between the toes. If this is difficult, practice it more often. Okay? If you haven't done this ever, do it again. So give it a good squeeze, then release your hand and just notice how much energy is in that foot. There's a lot of circulation in there now. So we're gonna do the other side. So pick up the other knee, just below the knee, you're gonna lean back. So there's a little traction, pulling back on your arms and pushing your leg forward and circle. And let's go back to the breath. I didn't speak to that on the other side. So just taking some nice deep breaths in and out, and just really being aware of the sensation in your ankle and your lower leg. And be, again, I love the word curiosity, or being curious, because how often do you sit around paying all your attention to your lower leg? Probably not that often. And then let's go the other direction. The slower you go, the better. Don't try and whip your foot around really quick. Go really slow because you'll affect more areas. Notice what this other leg's doing too. If it's falling out to the side, let's keep it upright and keep the foot that's on the floor balanced on the whole sole of the foot, not leaning one way or the other. Change direction again. I'm feeling in my lower leg. I hope you are too. You can always unmute if you have a question. I'm going to remind you of that throughout our time together. Circling, circling. Sometimes your ankle will do a lot of snap, crackle, and pop. And what I've found is the more you do this, the quieter it becomes because things get worked out in there. All right, that was a lot. Now take it and put the ankle across, and you're going to weave your fingers between your toes. And really work them in there so that there's lots of space, and a little intensity is okay. If anything hurts, of course, there's a difference. We don't want pain, but intensity is okay. Squeeze that foot, and then just gently circle it, which is more of a release because your muscles are now at ease. They're resting, your arms doing the work. Again, notice what's happening on the foot on the floor, keep it evenly balanced. And notice your breath. All right, and squeeze it again, and then unwind that. Okay, now this next one, you're gonna just stretch them out. You're gonna take behind the thigh, lift the leg up and stretch it forward and really squeeze the quadriceps, top of the thigh. So you're getting a stretch to the calf muscle, and push your heel out, pull your toes strong towards your face. And then you're gonna open the top of the foot and bring it down and stretch to the front of the calf and the back. So the front of the leg and the back of the leg. Do that a few times. And then we're going to take, this is kind of an intense one, why you need to be on a chair. You're going to take your foot and put the top of your foot down. And then I'm going to bring my body weight forward and lean into it a little bit. Now, oftentimes my feet cramp when I do this so that I have to release it. I did this earlier, they weren't cramping at all. There's a little bit there, but we don't often stretch the front of the ankle. And when those get tight, it's really hard to walk gracefully because we don't have that range of motion. So there is a little bit of cramping going on my foot, but it's not total, it's just kind of pinching. So I'm gonna leave it there. So you're pressing the foot down. Meanwhile, you can loosen this foot up. We're gonna stay for about 10 more seconds. And of course, you can bring it out. If it starts to cramp, wiggle it out, go back. So what I want you to notice as we go through this today is any areas that really light you up, like, wow, I can't believe I'm feeling that, or that feels weird, or I've never done that. Remember those things, because that's what you want to repeat. You'll find areas that your body really needs some attention. Let's go to the other side. So you're going to bring behind the leg, lean back. Once again, you're making sure your spine feels comfortable, and you're going to push out and just pull the toes hard back towards your face. Push through that heel, squeeze your quadriceps. It's okay, don't worry about blocking the knee out because there's no weight on the joint right now. You just want to really get it stretched. You're stretching what's called the gastrocnemius, so the most superficial calf muscle. Crosses that knee joint and it crosses the ankle joint. You're going to come back and then go back and forth. See how that feels. Pushing through. How about breathing? Exhale. Inhale, exhale. Now we're going to take that foot and put the top of the foot down, toenails down, and then lean on it a little bit, or a lot, depending. Oh, interesting. Yeah. It's interesting because I was doing this earlier, warming up for this practice. I'm like, oh, my feet aren't cramping at all. And now they're kind of doing it a little bit. But it just depends. Water's a good thing. If you drink a lot of water, if you have any cramping in your joints, it's often a sign you're not getting enough water. So I know I have been. So there, it's releasing. For me anyways, I hope yours is. Again, unmute anytime, but press through. And you gotta stay there a while. You can't just do it for 3 seconds and then go. I mean, you'll feel something, but nothing will change. You want to hold those tissues open for, a good amount of time, like what we're doing right now, to a minute, and sometimes even longer. If your feet are really tight, I'll show you some other ways we get on the floor to stretch your feet too, but we want to move into the pelvis today. So this is just our repeat of week 1, all about the feet, and then we're going to go into the legs, all about the legs. Oh, stretch that out. Now, depending on where you're sitting, your feet should come a little bit behind your knees if you're sitting down, and you can stand up without using your hands. That would be excellent. So because I can't see you today, next week I'm gonna put my projector on and maybe I can see everybody better. bend. Let's see, maybe I'll check you out. Oh, everybody's up, okay. I'm gonna get a little bit higher now. Wait, I still want you to see my feet. All right, so standing. Do your feet feel awake? Right, just notice how they feel. Mine are pretty pink. So you're gonna bring your feet right underneath your hip sockets. And at first, you're gonna face them straight ahead. And that's not really our natural stance. Our natural stance is about an 8 to 10 degree turnout. But in yoga, we do this just to create an awakening. So notice how that feels. And then look at my feet. If you can see, I'll move back here. You're gonna lift all your toes up off the floor. Okay, much like we did when we were stretching, and then put them down and spread them out. So don't squeeze them. Lift them up and put them down. And lift them up. Now put it down and let your knees bend just a little bit so you feel the weight come onto the front of your foot. Right? And then straighten your legs. And then bend a little bit. Feel how that weight comes forward when your shins go forward. So we're going to use that shin forward as a cue. And then we've got the secondary thing. Your shins go forward, and then you want your thighs to go back. And then stand up. Shins forward, thighs back. So we're just almost like we're going to sit down in a chair, but we're not. And I want you to keep doing this, okay? So we're doing this. Now bring your arms to your side, and then just do it kind of a little bit of a bounce so that you notice that when our knees and our hips stay soft, we can't bounce. Let's do the opposite. Push your legs back, your shins back, and your thighs forward. Now bounce. That's happen, but a lot of us stand like this. And so what we're doing is locking up the joints. And we talked about that last week for those of you who are repeating the class. So the leg, it's super important that we let the ankles bend, the knees bend, and the hips bend right at the groin. And then we've got this mobility. Now you can come up to a straight position. Try that out. You can, the three of you that are together, you can even watch each other's posture. When you straighten your legs, you still want that very subtle sensation of shin going forward and thigh going back. And now we're going to warm up those legs, but I want to come to the pelvis first. So put your hands on your pelvic rim like this. Okay, shins forward, thighs back. Now when the thighs go back, it's really easy to bring the pelvis more forward. So your front hip bones are moving forward and your bottom's coming up. And then when your thighs go forward, your tail tucks. So see what kind of movement you can get there. And let's focus on thighs going back, thighs coming forward, and notice how your pelvis rocks on top of it. And how about some breathing? Exhale and inhale. And exhale and inhale. And then we're going to come up and exhale. So I want you to feel that. So the thigh relationship to the pelvis, this is a very important relationship because as soon as our thighs go forward, now we've dumped our pelvis back. And I'm going to show you a pelvis. I just happen to have a pelvis here that you can see. So here's our pelvis, right? And so what we want to do is when we're neutral, this is what we're looking for, is that the pubic bone and hip bones are on the same plane. When we draw back, okay, when the pelvis pubic goes forward, we flatten our back. And this is most commonly the problem. This is where back injury happens. Because we sit in chairs, we sit in airplane chairs are the worst. Lazy boys, big couches that are too deep. So you always want to take a pillow and put it behind your back so you can get the pubic bone down and that curve in your back. And you're going to tone your belly. We'll come to that. Just think about where these bones are, and you can feel them right in the side. Put your hand on your hip, okay? And then this hip bone goes forward. That's called anterior tilt. Hip goes back, posterior tilt. Okay? There you go. It's what's inside your body. So take your feet now a little bit further apart. So let's come back into a standing pose, feet grounded. Okay, if you're uncomfortable in your ankles or knees, you can turn your feet out a little bit. Okay, but I want you to be aware of that. And then look down and see that your kneecaps are in line with your second and third toe. Not your middle toe, not your big toe, not your little toe, but your middle toes. So your shin bones are straight up and down, okay? And then your hands on your pelvic rim, and imagine what that skeletal structure looks like. Shins forward, thighs back a little, and then tuck the tail, and lift it up. And tuck the tail. Hopefully this feels like a good movement on your spine. Only go to the first point of sensation. Now holding the tailbone up, the sitting bones up, slide your hands down your legs and lift the sitting bone and put your hand on your back and just notice if you've got that what we call anterior curve, that forward curve in your lower back. And then notice what's happening on your belly. Can you pull your navel up to your spine without losing that curve? You want to keep the sitting bones up, so that's the thighs going back, decrease. This is how we bend over. And so I want you to feel this a little bit. I have to get down and pull the pots out of my cupboard a lot because I use them every day pretty much. And so when I get into that cupboard, I have to do this. And most people will do this. And then that puts all this pressure on the back, or even worse, bend and twist. And that's when we have little complications. So we want to really feel that strength of your abdominal being toned and your sitting bones lifting, okay? Now I want to see you do it. I'm coming up. I want to see you doing this. Keep going. Down, get down lower, the Campbell family. I can see you. You need to stick the bottom out like this, and then come up and go down like that. Because now we're going to do some strength work, and you need to have this lumbar curve in place and your belly firm. And then we come up, okay? Just kind of do it. So I talk a lot about empowered aging, and aging starts the day you're born. And so when you learn this at a young age, I'm so glad I learned it at the age of 21. So thankful for that. Because then you've got these skills throughout your life. And if you're not 21 and you're 61 and you're learning it, that's still okay. Because you gotta start where you're at. But we wanna hold these things in place because now, with this pelvis, with the understanding that when we start to bend, we're gonna bend in the right places, not in our lumbar spine, okay? We'll round this occasionally to feel the stretch, but we don't want to round it to do any of our sweeping or vacuuming or leaning into the cupboards. We want to push that out, okay? So let's do a little practice here to warm that up. So taking your feet even wider, if you have a yoga mat distance apart, okay, and I'm going to turn sideways so you can see my spine. You take your hands down your thighs, and your thighs are going back, hands on thighs, pressing down as low as you can go, and your knees will tell you, and then you come up and you bring your hands up the midline of the body, and you stretch up out of your pelvis, and then you go down, and you exhale through your mouth, like with the ha sound. And then ha. Now, if I go lower than you can, that's okay. If your knees are bothering you, just go down a little bit, and come up. We're going to get warm here. Exhale, coming down. Inhale, coming out. Let it go. Keep your belly toned. So as you exhale, your belly should come in and go up and come down. So I call this Peleasana after the goddess of the volcanoes in Hawaii. We're building our inner fire. And know that our leg muscles, especially the glutes and the hamstrings and the quadriceps, those big muscles that we're working right now in the lower leg, they're the first muscles that will atrophy. If we don't use them, they easily get weak. So I want to use them every day. We're going to do this 3 more times. Exhale. And then stay down. Okay, now here's the trick. Stay down. Bring your elbows in. And as if you have little strings attached to your sitting bones, start to lift your sitting bones up just until you feel the stretch in your hamstrings. You don't have to straighten your legs, probably can't, both of you. But lift, tone the belly. If you're not going to get dizzy, you can go ahead and drop your head down. Some of you could take your hands down a little further. But what you don't want to do is round your back, and I'm coming to see. Campbell family, I think your thing is frozen. That's what it is. You're all just standing there. Okay. Good. Interesting. Okay, I can't really see anyone. So I'm going to trust. This is tricky, trusting what you're doing. Now, when you come up, place your hands on your thighs first, bend your knees, shins forward, lift your belly, lift your chest, and then pull yourself up center. Okay, and now let the arms come down. And then sweep them up. So now we're going to do our flow. Exhale through the mouth right into that squat, deep as you want, and then lift the bottom up. Feel the stretch in the back of the legs. Sink back down again to where you're comfortable. Now gather it all up, scoop up the belly, lift from center, and let go. And again. This gets your energy going. I call it pranification. Get your prana flowing. Sink it down. And out. Nice and easy in the shoulders. Strong in your legs. Lift. Squat. I want you to feel something when you come down this time. Feel the soles of your feet. Are they equally grounded on the floor? Keep them grounded. One more time. Then we're going to come down, toes straight, planted, and then lift. Equal weight on the feet. And then come all the way up and release your arms down. Allow your shoulders. Place your hands right on front of your thighs. And then circle your thighs around. Okay, not your head around, but your thighs around. And what you're feeling is you're actually feeling, I'll show you, keep doing that. This is called your acetabulum. It's your femur bone, that's your thigh bone, going right into your hip socket. Kind of like that. Okay, there's my thigh bone. And when you circle, this is great. Visual aid. When you circle, your thigh bone is going around in this hip socket. And that's a good thing because it helps to stimulate what we call the synovial fluid, so it keeps your joints juicy. And you just, like, I have a little catch on this hip, something's going on there, I don't know what it is. We can't figure it out. But it's okay, because I just work with it, other direction. So there might be a little glitch here or there, or tightness, just notice. And don't try and force anything, just take it easy, make the circles smaller or bigger. All right, so that's that relationship again of your femur into your hip socket, because the relationship here is what keeps the base of your spine in place so that the rest of your spine can easily ascend. So once again, I'm going to come sideways, step right underneath your pelvis again, or what we call mountain pose. So the feet are straight ahead. Your knees you're slightly bent because your shins are slightly forward, your thighs are back, and then you come to the pelvis. So you want to feel a little arch in your back. We're going to support and lengthen that arch by scooping up your belly and hugging in your ribs. You see the difference? I have a tendency to do this because my heart is so open. I just lean forward and kind of a go-getter. So our stance often shows our relationship to the energy life. Sometimes if we hold ourselves back a lot, we might stand like this. But we want to stand tall, right up over that midline. So again, feel your feet, feel your abdomen, strong all the way up to your ribs. And that perfect balance of your spine. And what does that feel like, right? If there's areas that are tight or dull, notice so you know where to work them. Next, we're going to focus on the core. We're going to really work on the abdomen and the spinal muscles, but today we're going a little bit more into the hips because if the hips are tight, that keeps our pelvis from moving correctly. Just take another couple breaths into Tadasana. And notice if you can find some interest in how you hold yourself up. Okay, we're going to shake it all out. Shake your legs out. We're going to do a little more strength work because right here on the sides of our hips, okay, so we did work for the quadriceps and the hamstrings a little bit. Now we're going to go to what's called the gluteal muscles and right on the side of your hips. And these are stabilizers. Sometimes we stand around like this. That makes this one tight and this one weak. So if you have a tendency to stand like this knee will lock, this knee gets weak. So this stance, it might not seem like a big deal in the moment, but over again, our body starts to shape itself. So then you go to stand up and your hip is actually still out on this side and tight on this side and this knee still locked. So we want to line ourselves up every day so we can keep repatterning. We're repatterning the neuromuscular connection, okay? And all of that relationship between our thoughts and our head and our body, so that this pattern becomes more familiar. You'll catch yourself doing that. Okay, so stand up. Now we're going to strengthen that. So it's going to take a little work. You're going to bend your knees forward again just a little bit and your thighs back, so a slight dip. And you're going to shift all your weight to one foot and take your toe out to the side. So I want you to put more of your weight on one foot and then look and see where your knee is. Your knee should face your second and third toe and then pull your bottom back. So I'm going to go this way. You need to pull back so that your knee, I want your knee way out over your toes like this. Lean back. That's going to keep your weight in your heel and going to protect your knee. And then scoop up your belly. Take your arms out of it and see if you can then take this foot back in and you're going to lift it out again right from this muscle. And then in and then out. And in and out. You can change the arms. Come in and if possible lift. Come in and lift. I want you to notice where your foot goes. You want to keep your toes facing forward. So you're working the side of your hip because if your toes turn out, you're working that's the front of the hip. It's not a very big lift, but you'll feel it. Really squeeze that love handle. Okay, bring it up. 3 more. And then we're going to pause possibly and come right back down. Now release that standing foot. That's a strengthener for your ankle. And pause. So a little squat again. Take the other foot out to the side. Shift your weight more into your heel. Pull in your belly. So find the strength here and then we're going to lift from the side. Okay. So lift. Lift. Make sure you're not kicking it like from your foot. Okay. Lift from your hip. Let the movement come from the very center of your body. Your leg follows your hips. We'll learn about that with the arms too. And move from your center line. You can use your arms if it helps. In. So this stabilization of the side of the hip, your gluteus medius, will also help you in your walking gait. You're going to walk differently. And then stop. Feel that. Now we're going to add a pattern. And this one is actually for your mind, for your brain. This is a little exercise for neuroplasticity because there's a pattern. So let's play with that. So standing on your own 2 feet, you're going to sink down a little bit so you're really grounded. And we'll reach one foot out, arms out. I'm going to step wide. So sink down and put your hands on your hips. You've done this, bottom up. Belly tone, come straight up and down. Now we're going to go over to the side and lift again and come back to center. And squat and lift the other leg up. And go wide. Now you can take, I'm just taking my arms halfway up because some of you might feel more comfortable that way. Now we're going to lean and come back to center. Now the other leg goes up. Down, up and down. Maybe your arms go all the way up. Lean center. There's the pattern. I know it gets confusing, and that's okay. It's good for your brain. Up. And your arms can go straight up, or they can go out to the side. Up and down. To the middle. Side. Oops, did I forget that one? See, now I messed up. Up, down, and center, and release. Okay. So, side of the legs. And just adding that balance. And now we're going to stretch them out. Okay? So step wide, again, I'll go at an angle for you. Step as wide as you feel comfortable. And then once again, even though the legs are wide, you're going to get shins forward, thighs back. Tone the belly. Okay, so you're zipping it up from up to your navel. And then bend at the hips. So this is super important. Just go as far as you can. Bend the knees more if you need to. If your hamstrings are tight, they'll pull your tailbone in. So lift it up. Tone the belly. And then keep going just to where you feel the stretch in the back of your legs. So the crease at the hips is what's changing the rotation of the pelvis and stretching the hamstrings. You don't even have to bend your knees. The more you, straighten your knees. The more you lift your bottom, you'll stretch those muscles because that's where they're attached. And then let your one knee bend and put your forearm on your thigh and just stretch over to that side. Put your hands wherever they serve you. If you have blocks, you can put your hand on a block. Not everybody has blocks. So you can use your body. And stretch into those legs. Then come back up to center. Tone the belly. Lift a little bit if you need to. Get out of the back. And then come back down. So if you keep your spine aligned, this won't get tiring. If you're rounding your back, it'll start to pull. So lift it up, bend the other knee, forearm to thigh. This is a little bit of a balance for some. Press in, and again, think of the sitting bones lifting and the belly toning. Feel that. Don't just think about it, feel it. Stretch into the leg. And then you're gonna straighten and come up, push into the legs, squeeze the glutes as you come up. And now we're going to go straight down and stretch the glutes again. So come straight over. Maybe you just stop right there. Some of you will have your hands on your shin. If it feels okay, you could drop your head. Right? But make sure you're not over rounding your lower back, where that's a pulling up. We're going to push the bottom out and round over. And if some of you feel more comfortable, you could bend your knees and have your forearms on your thighs. Notice where your body stops you and honor that. Don't try and force anything. Just go to that point of sensation. And I want you to take 3 more full deep breaths. Stay with it. You don't have to run away from it if there's intensity. Just back off the intensity, but stay. Kind of like life right now. You can't get away from it. We just gotta mellow out and see, just go right up to our edges and breathe. And come all the way up. Be careful of being dizzy. Lift it up. Now walk in your heels and toes and stretch it out. Shake it out. We're gonna do one more standing and then we're gonna lay on the floor, which you'll probably like because we're gonna do some stuff down there, but I just wanna bring your awareness once again to the hips because when we practice yoga, this happens a lot. So I want you to feel yourself rotate the pelvis. Many times we lead from our extremities. The hand leads the arm, so you might lean back, or a foot leads the leg. So a lot of times in this next few poses, we put our legs in different position. We'll say move the foot, but then your pelvis is left behind. So I want you to feel yourself rotate your pelvis to one side and then rotate the leg to go with it. And now get yourself comfortable on 2 feet. Let the knees be bent a little bit. So you could really push into your feet, right? And you could choose to go a little bit wider or narrow front to back. You could also step your feet a little, take that front foot maybe a little bit out to the side. So you feel solid, that's important, okay? And then you're gonna push down and pull this back arm back from your shoulder. So you feel the shoulder moving open. Now that's bringing your chest forward a little bit, okay? Reach back and then bring your other arm and put your hand on your head and open up that side body. If you need to lower the arm a little bit, that's okay. Can you stay steady on your feet? Keep your pelvis moving towards the side. Go ahead and stand and see if your knee is right over your ankle, not collapsing forward. If your knee collapses, move your hips. Okay? Stretch that back. Notice what you feel. What shape are you making? What does that shape bring to you? And then lift it up. Straighten the front leg by squeezing the muscles of the thigh. And bring your hips forward, foot follows. Let's try the other side. So here's the pelvis. We're going to lead from the pelvis. Turn the pelvis. Turn the leg and the foot. Even if it turns out a little bit, that's better than being forward. Super important is to keep this knee safe. Push down in the back leg. Reach that back arm back so your torso stays up. Allow that front knee to bend right over the ankle. Check it out. You gotta look and see. Pushing down strong into your heels. And then you take the other arm over to your head and lean a little bit. Again, you can adjust this arm up or down. Feel what's happening. We're just opening areas that we may not normally touch. Sitting at our desk or just walking throughout the day. Side body long. Take some deep breaths in there. Now push your feet, lift your belly, and that'll help you bring out of the pose gracefully. Now turn the pelvis, turn the leg back to the front. Take it out a little bit. Good. We're going to do one more. This time we're turning the pelvis again with the legs a little bit further. So you're going to face, if you were on your mat, the short end of your mat. You're facing sideways. Okay. Now hands on the hips. This is a lunging position. Let your front knee bend just over the ankle. You can change the distance front to back or left to right. It's stable. Now this is going to stretch this whole front thigh and into what we call the psoas, which is a muscle that attaches your lumbar to your leg. So take that arm up, the leg that's behind you, take that arm up, or you can bend it and lean a little bit to the side. So you're leaning to open that quadrant of the abdomen. And stretch, push down firmly through the back leg. Okay, and look and see that that front knee stays open. So just notice what you can find. There's no wrong unless you're hurting yourself, but different sensations are going to occur for everybody. I've even moving mine around a little bit. Be curious. And then start to straighten the front leg as you lift your belly and ribs, and then release. And then all you have to do is switch over to the other side. So move the pelvis. All right, push down into both feet. Keep your knees soft so you can engage the muscles. The front knee bends right over the ankle. It's all about awareness. Where's your body in space? The back heel, super strong. Squeeze your quadricep. And then lift your belly, taking the same arm up and really stretch up. That's going to open that quadrant where the psoas attaches. It's called the hip flexor. And it is often tight from sitting. And then reach over and stretch. Play around. Again, just notice what kind of sensations you can create in there. Okay? If it feels better to have your elbow bent, that's fine too. It's all good. One more breath. Push into that back leg. And notice how much attention you're paying to yourself. That is actually one of the keys to being resilient, which we need to be resilient right now. shake it out a little bit, is to really pay attention to how you're feeling. Be truthful, not in the mind, but in your body. So notice that right now. Let's walk it back together. Okay. Walk it out a little bit. And then keep in mind again, Tadasana. So come back into Tadasana, which is our mountain pose. Be grounded. Shins forward, thighs back. Hug the muscles of the legs without locking the joints. Keep the pelvis neutral, which means a little dropping the pubic bone down away from the navel, and then scoop the muscles of the belly up. And then lift nice and tall. Shake it out. We're gonna go to the floor, okay? So, yay, everyone's happy to go to the floor. So I'm gonna rearrange so you can see, I can see you and you can see me. See if I can make this happen. Yes. Okay. So here we go. And when you come to the floor, hold the front of the shins. This is what we did sitting in the chair. Same thing. There's the rounded back. Let it stretch out. And then open the knees a little bit more so you can bring the spine up. Just again, rolling over your sitting bones. Back and forth. And then keep it nice and firm in your belly. Hold the legs. And depending on your body, if you have any back issues and you need to go to the side and come down, it's fine. But otherwise, try and push your legs away to move my little mic device here. And roll down. And there we are. Down on the floor. Yay! Place your hands on your pelvis and your feet on the floor. I want you to really be aware of what you feel underneath your feet. You just woke them up a lot today. Your heels should be underneath your knees. And if you have any knee issues, you can take it a little bit further out. So adjust for your joints. That's important. And then take the lower back. As you inhale, let your belly relax and bring your lower back up a little bit so you can feel a little spaciousness, and you're drawing your pubic bone down. That's a little arch. There we are, anterior tilt. And then as you exhale, engage the abdomen and press the lower back to the floor. You don't need to squeeze your glutes too much. Do this with your abdominal muscles. And then, so just simple pelvic tilt, but super mindful pelvic tilts. Right? So go back and forth. Exhale, rounding the back. Get things out of the way. And inhale, arching. That's what that feels like. We're going to do a lot of movement on the pelvis, because it's all about the pelvis today. So the more fluid, it's actually in the energy system of yoga called the chakras. This area of the pelvis is known as the water element. The legs, of course, are earth, rooting us down. And we're still doing this. And then the pelvis is fluid. So that's why we want to have a lot of movement from that territory on the top of the thighs and in the lower back to keep everything flowing. It's also the center of our emotions, our belly. So we feel a lot here, right? So some of you, if you've been feeling a little bit anxious, who hasn't, you know, the belly can get really upset, then that can impede digestion, and then we can get into a vicious cycle. So just by doing these gentle movements, we're going to relax the abdomen, which helps relax emotions, which helps increase digestion. Isn't that a lovely thing? All right, now find the middle. Find where you're in the middle of your sacrum. So I'm going to show you that, if you can see me. This is your sacrum right here, this bony structure on the base of the spine. Right? And you're right in the center of it. So your back is not flattened and your back is not arched. It's right in the middle. I'm going to even move up here a little bit more. You're centered. Okay. Now straighten your left leg out and see if you can get that thigh open. So you're pressing the lower back towards the floor. The back of your thigh towards the floor, not your lower back. That is wrong. You want to keep a little lightness. You're not trying to lift it, you're just staying neutral. Get to know that. Tone the belly. Now bring the other foot off the floor, and you can either hold the shin or the thigh with one hand. And you're going to start to bring it up, but you're going to really stretch this straight leg. You can put your hand there. Stretch your straight leg down and start to bring this right leg up. Now what often happens is this, right? So now in this position, I've flattened my lower back and I've shortened my hip flexors. If your hip flexors are tight, this will happen. So you're going to push the lifted leg away, get that leg down, and only go as far as you can keep this leg straight. You can even take this bending more to the side. I like to hold the shin and just notice. So I want you to move around in here a little bit and notice what your hips are telling you. Like, where do you have movement? Where does it feel good to add a little extra movement? And where might there be some tension? Hold on to that. Now bring that bent knee a little bit right into center so you can get your other hand to it. Take a deep breath in, lift your head off the floor, look down your body. Is your straight leg straight, or your toes up towards the ceiling? And now you're squeezing your abdomen, pushing out through that straight foot. And then curling up, there's your abdominal wall, which we're really going to get you to go next week. And then going to slowly roll down shoulder blades, head, release, and straighten the leg and roll your head right to left. And breathe. All right, we have another leg to go. So you're going to bend the left knee. Actually, I'm going to bend both of them to start with. Okay, well, whatever, mine, it's say left to right. So just hold either the shin or the thigh. If you hold the low thigh, you're closer. When you go up here, your shoulders might come off the floor. So keep your shoulders back. Just hold low. It's not really about this leg. It's really about the straight leg. So focus more on straightening, like push your foot out like you're pushing against a wall. You can even do that at home. Push your foot into the wall and try and pull the back of your thigh bone to the floor. Right? And then start to bring the other leg up. But don't let that straight leg pop up. This tells you a lot about what we call our hip flexors. If your leg wants to pop off the floor, you can know that your hip flexors are tight. So let's see what time I have. I'll give you a good stretch for those two, another one. So we're going to pull it in. Now we're taking our hands to the shin. Scoop in your belly a bit more. And lift your head and curl it. Tug your belly in and look at that straight leg or your toes up and squeeze. Squeeze it all in. And then slowly roll down. Put the foot on the floor, bring the other leg up so both feet are on the floor and let your head roll right to left. And coming right into center, the back of the head, I want you to notice what's happening in your shoulders. Turn your palms up, bring them down a little bit, and tuck your shoulder blades a little closer together. And then you're going to walk your feet shoulder width apart. A lot of you know this already, but some people don't. We're going to drop both knees over to one side, but keep your feet super wide. Don't bring your feet together. You're going to want to, but don't. Keep it wide. And then as you drop, if you feel any vulnerability in your knee, flex your feet and get your calves active. That'll protect your knee. You'll feel an opening through the front of the hip. It's a little bit of a twist. You can add a little ump if you want to squeeze the glutes or not. And you turn your head away from the knees. So you basically have a very subtle spinal twist while opening your hip flexors once again. Now bring just the top knee up. Look, this other leg stay there. Just the top knee. At some point, you'll feel that they're connected. So you roll over your sacrum to the other side. And then we're going to pause there and let the front of that hip open. A lot of times these hip flexors are the culprit for lower back discomfort because this big psoas muscle attaches to your lumbar spine. And when it pulls, it creates back pressure. And a lot of people have a tendency to think they need to stretch their back out. And actually, they need to stretch their hips out, right? Do you feel that? You can answer me after because we'll have a little discussion. Now with the top up and over. You just keep doing that. That's my alarm to drink more water. That's what I've got going on today. I'm reminding myself. So sometimes it takes external influences to keep ourselves on track. So that's my water alarm. You might think about doing that for yourself. So meanwhile, you're going back and forth, I hope, and enjoying what we call double knee drops. Okay. And this is to release the lower back. And we're going to do this a few more times because repetition creates bliss. And then come right into the center, both knees up again. Tuck your feet out, stretch your lower back. Bring your arms down by your side. And just take a few breaths. Don't worry about the next thing. Just take a few breaths. Then consider what you have available for your comfort in relaxation. So you're going to go into, I'm just going to mute the Campbell family. You're going to make yourself comfortable. So what I recommend, if you're near a couch, since you're at home, you could just lay on the floor and put your feet up the couch. That's a really wonderful release for the lower back. It looks like this. One of my favorite poses. Right? Get all comfortable. You might need something underneath your head. We'll work on neck and shoulders in a few weeks. If your head's up, you need to support it. If your chin is higher than your forehead. What's going to feel comfortable for you? Some of you might just want something under your knees, like this. Okay. So get comfortable. And I'm going to talk you through a little relaxation, which is your reward for your efforts and a wonderful way to let all that information that your body received on a neuromuscular level to let it settle in so it recognizes what its experience has been. This is important. This is actually the most important pose of all, is to relax. And the only way we can relax is when we've worked out all those kinks and released unnecessary tension. So drop down, feel the weight of your body sinking into the ground. And let yourself take a deep breath in through your nose and relax your jaw and just let it go out the back of the throat. Deep breath in through your nose. Full body expanding. Then exhale, whole body releasing. And then just let the lips touch softly. Relax your tongue once again. Soften your face. Let your head be heavy. Feel the energy that's moving through you. It might feel like heat or tingling or a wave of sensation. It could feel like expansion. It's different for each of us. You just feel the results of the movement of your body and breath. And bathe yourself in that. Soften the shoulders. Let the weight of your arms sink towards the floor. Feel the rib cage and chest expanding and releasing with your breath. It's natural flow. Sense the belly rising and falling. Soft belly. And the weight of your hips, the weight of your pelvis being fully supported by what's beneath them. Floor, carpet, blanket, just sink in. Be aware of sensation here at the hip joints where the thigh meets the pelvis. Soften those joints. Make sure your legs are most comfortable. So they could be heavy. Softening the hips, softening the knees, softening the ankles, the toes. And imagine that you could breathe in through the tips of your toes. And take a nice deep breath in and pull that awareness of breath all the way up through your legs, through your torso, through your arms, through your head, your whole body. And then exhale and let go. So for yourself, just staying present with your breath, you might want to bring in a particular sense of gratitude for gifting yourself this time to awaken your body and become more aware of how you hold yourself and where you can take care of yourself in the next 24 hours, next 24 days. Now, what are the areas that need attention? And what are the areas that are really serving you? Let's give gratitude to this precious human body. And in that gratitude practice, we recognize when we can feel that sense of being grateful, it's so calming to our nervous system. And so quieting to our mind. So let this be part of your daily practice, not just once a day, but throughout the day. Sensing how your body's feeling, doing what feels best to you. Breathing in gratitude. Breathing out gratitude. And notice how that unfolds. How that calms us down. Allows us to be more present and more effective in our moment by moment choices. So right now, can you just choose to be at ease? In your last few breaths here, just choosing to feel a sense of peace, joy, contentment, maybe even excitement. Cultivating this inner relationship. It's one thing we can count on. And in your last few breaths, just know that you're sealing in all the goodness of your efforts. And then begin to take some deeper breaths. And once again, go back to that release of a gentle sigh. And stretch and move in comfortable ways. Slowly roll to one side. It's very helpful to maintain that ease in both body and mind and throughout your nervous system. If you roll to one side, just kind of cuddle up in the most comfortable way you can. Enjoy your breath. And then slowly push yourself away from the floor and come into a comfortable seat. Whatever that is, and then place your palms together at your heart so we can end traditionally with what we call Anjali Mudra. So just that, the hands at the heart and a sense of gratitude, once again, a symbol of gratitude. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'd love to have a bit of conversation at the end if you can stick around and unmute. And in the meantime, I hope this serves you. You can have a very restful evening. And we'll be back again next Wednesday, focused on the next layer of our postural alignment. So enjoy and namaste.